awesome workshop at Bodhi Spiritual Center.
My pleasure.
And for writing this book, Living A Course in Miracles. And if you could just tell us a little bit about your early journey with A Course in Miracles, that would be awesome.
Here in Chicago, even though Helen and Bill and Ken, I and Judy all live in New York.
It started in Chicago.
It started in Chicago.
That's so
well,
cool.
What started in Chicago was really just meeting Helen and Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And this was at a conference in 1973, sponsored by an organization called Spiritual Frontiers Fellowship. Before the course was completed, Helen and Bill spent actually a good bit of time looking into things which had come in a similar way to the course, like the Edgar Cayce material and the Seth material, another quote, inspired writings,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And
the light will go off and on. But
oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
So this conference was about that kind of stuff. The keynote speaker was Hugh Lynn Casey, who was Edgar Cayce's son. And I was leading a workshop at that conference on a book that I had just written called Learning to Die,
Right.
which was really came out of the fact that I had done so many funerals, that I had all this material about talking about life after death.
And you were 29 at the time.
I was 30.
30.
Yeah,
Okay,
30
so you
years
were
old.
young.
Well, I was 29 actually.
Writing about death.
Almost 30.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Helen and Bill came to my talk, which was really more on mysticism and near-death experiences and what the mystics were describing and what little we knew about near-death experiences at that point compared to what we know now. It was tiny compared to what we know now. And so I was introduced to the two of them afterwards, and I don't think they said A Course in Miracles, but they said that Helen had written like this inspirational book, right? And
it's an understatement.
An understatement, right. They might have said A Course in Miracles, I just really don't remember. I remember inspirational book. And I remember looking at Helen and thinking, isn't that sweet, this little old lady's written this inspirational book. And if I had any idea who was sitting there listening to me, I mean, I was a 30-year-old cocky PhD student who probably thought he knew something, you know.
Right.
And
Right.
compared to what these folks knew, it was nothing, you know. But I didn't know that, and they were very kind to me. And so that was just our first introduction, and it seemed like it was important we were to meet, but that was it. The next year, in 1974, I wrote a letter which got published in the newsletter of the Journal of the Transpersonal Psychology Association,
Okay.
expressing interest in being in contact with anybody who was working in the fields of psychotherapy and spirituality and where those two fields crossed.
Okay.
Bill saw my letter and told Helen that he thought it was a call for her to complete the writing of the psychotherapy pamphlet.
Okay.
So Helen had taken down the first 13 pages of the psychotherapy pamphlet, but she'd never finished it. And of course Ken and Bill were after her to complete this because they wanted to see what did it say.
Yeah.
And so Helen agreed that my letter was a call for her to do that. So she finished writing the psychotherapy pamphlet, and she called me in April 1975, and she says, I have something for you. I had no idea what she was talking about, but I agreed to go meet with her and Ken and Bill in Ken's little tiny studio apartment on East 17th Street in New York City. Ken deliberately got this little studio apartment kind of catty corner across the street from where Helen lived so that he could work with her. And I remember thinking at the time that I went there that Ken's apartment was the most Spartan thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Really?
Well,
Interesting,
he
right?
was actually interested at that point in becoming a monk. I mean, he was going to, right? He was going to go off to Israel and become a monk. So he really didn't have much in the way of, I remember going into the bathroom and seeing there was a towel and a toothbrush. And in the kitchen there was a pot for tea. And there was a little desk with a typewriter on it and a Bible and these big black binders,
Right.
which contained the Course in Miracles as it was at that point.
Gosh, oh my gosh.
Right.
You know what's kind of funny is that when I met him, he still like energetically carries that beautiful simplicity.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that
Absolutely.
just is exactly who he
It
is.
is exactly who he is.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, nothing has changed in that sense.
Right.
Right.
So sweet.
Yeah, very sweet.
Okay, so you're at his apartment.
Right at the park. There was one strange thing about the apartment, though. Let me just mention before about Helen telling me about the book. at the end of, Helen sat on Ken's daybed and told me about the course, but at the end of that bed, there was this black monolithic structure thing, which was actually a door, that like an inside door for a house, that without a doorknob on it, that Ken had taken and painted all black, and it had a gold star on the top of it and the word Elohim in gold across it, which was actually something that had been happened in one of Helen's visions. She had this visionary experience when she'd seen this. It looked like something out of the movie 2001, you know?
Yeah.
So it was completely out of place.
Wow.
But I guess Helen didn't want it in her apartment.
That's funny.
Yeah. So Ken had it in his apartment. And I wonder if that thing still exists. I wonder if
Yes,
Ken
we're
has
gonna
it.
find it on eBay somewhere for $5 billion. The door of Helen's door.
If it exists at all, Ken has it. Otherwise, it may not exist at all. Who knows? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So anyhow, Helen just told me about the course, how it came into existence, and how it affected the three of them. And I really remember walking home that night with carrying the manuscript of the psychotherapy pamphlet under my arm, thinking that probably the most important thing which had ever happened to me had just happened. But I had no idea what it was. And it was over a year and a half before I began to understand what the course was saying.
Right.
So the next thing actually that happened was that Judy Scutch met Helen. Now Judy and I had been friends since the mid-60s.
Really?
We were both active. We were both teaching at the NYU School of Continuing Education. She was teaching courses in parapsychology. I was teaching courses in humanistic psychology. We were both active in the American Society for Psychical Research. And in fact, as I was dating the lady who was the secretary to the president of the American Society for Psychical Research. And she and Judy were very good friends. Her name was Vera Feldman. And Judy was also in charge of what was called the Parasensory Foundation, which later became the Foundation for Inner Peace, which became the publishers of the Course in Miracles.
Wow, okay.
And so we'd been around in the same circles. Judy was always having people come over to her house to watch Uri Geller bend spoons or see the latest in curling and photography or whatever. She was just like this mover and shaker in the parapsychological movement. So then about 6 weeks after Helen told me about the course, she met Judy. And when Judy got the course, she just took fire with it. She decided this was the thing that she'd been looking for all her life.
Yes.
And here it was, right? And so one of the first things that Judy did was to see to it that a bunch of copies of the course were Xeroxed. And actually there were 300 copies of what was called the Criswell edition, were Xeroxed. It was actually the large pages were put down. It was into a 5.5, 8.5 format, so it's a very small type. Those are still out there somewhere. A few of them, I understand, they're going for a lot of money on eBay. So that was it. And then what happened was that in '76, I had a profound death experience, which I won't go into right now, but I did in July. And after that, I really began to understand what the Course was saying, because at that point, it became clear to me that there isn't any world. That we're not bodies, because I had this experience of being like disembodied, if you will.
Right.
And
How old were you when you had your near-death experience?
33.
Okay, so so pretty soon after you met them, 3 years later.
Yeah, it was 3 years later. And then after that, I really started getting into studying the Course. I always studied with Ken. I never studied with